All I have is one tiny minute, only 60 seconds in it. Forced upon me, I cannot refuse it. I did not seek, nor did I choose it. But it's up to me to use it. I will suffer if I lose it, give account if I abuse it. All I have is one tiny minute, but eternity is in it. Within my tenure working in education for 10 plus years, and also an advocate for mental health and promoting mental health, I've learned a lot of different concepts between how to really live a life worth living. Living a fulfilled life, not allowing the constraints to hold you back or keep you from thriving. So my name is Bryan Robertson. I'm going to be speaking on a vibrant life. So first, let's look at the definition of what vibrant truly means. Pulsating, vigor, colorful, bold. These are the things one may think or come to mind when they think about living a life worth living or a fulfilled life. And we're all familiar with Maslow's hierarchy of needs. These are some of the elements that are needed to live a wholesome life. And I'm not negating these at all, but more so I'm going to speak of the nuances that make up day to day, week to week, month to month. So, a vibrant life. We look at some of the categories we may see, things that require a certain relationship as far as family, friends, and loved ones. Some people may say, ooh, this is fulfilling. This gives me a sense of fulfillment. Ooh, I'm loving life, being around the people I love. And then you have 1 million IG followers. We made the list as far as achieving very high within having followers within our social media. To some, that may be a great indicator of living a fulfilled life. We also have the career growth, moving up the ladder, getting that promotion, starting that business. That is fulfillment. That is life. I'm making it. And we also have travel, which you get to travel across the seas, see the world. To some, that may be a life worth living. But the only problem with these items I have up on this big screen is that they're all contingent. They're all event-based. See, if you remove any of these items right now, and if that's something that you need to have a fulfilled life, then you might be in trouble. So what I want to speak about is how can you have intrinsic fulfillment? Well, let's start with perception is reality, right? Now, before we get deep into a vibrant life, let's look at the glass half empty and the glass half full. Can I have a show of hands of the glass half full people? Okay. And what about the glass half empty? Oh, no one wants to claim that. But it exists, right? See, the thing is, regardless if the glass is half empty or full, it's still measured with the matrix of being half of water in that jar. So if that's the case, then perception truly is reality. I can dictate how my life is going to go based off of how I think. And if this is true, it means the law of attraction is something that can be very real. See, there's something called the RAS, which is the reticular activating system in our brain. This identifies what we see or deem as important versus what's not important. So, let's put this to the test. Here's an example. You buy a new car. And when you purchase this new car, you start to see this new car everywhere. By a show of hands, has this ever happened to you all? And you're saying, well, wait, did the whole world buy my car? Are they jocking my style? What's going on? Well, it's not that everyone purchased your car. What your brain has done is identified this to be of importance, significant. And by doing that, what happens is your brain is saying, okay, I'm not only going to recognize this car, but anything remotely close, I'm going to deem it as such. So we can harness this power. If we can channel this in a way to give us success, but not only success, but make us feel happy, that's a whole paradigm shift. So here's evidence of the RAS. You have your vision boards. You have your goal setting. And you even have the little engine that could. I think I can. I think I can. I think I can. Incantations, affirmations, writing, inscribing. These are ways that we can start using the law of attraction to our own benefit. But here's the greatest secret that no one told us, that this exists within the wealthy, the most influential, the pioneers of society. They've been doing this. Now it's time for us to utilize this to our own benefit. So I'm going to speak about keys to a vibrant life. Now, I witnessed this in and outside the classroom. I witnessed this as being a leader and doing a lot of leadership consulting and working within my clinic and things of that nature. I've seen individuals that have thrived implementing these keys that you see very much here on the screen here. First, we have mental and physical health. Now, of course, that's a daily thing. You have to take care of your mental state as well as your physical state before any of the other keys even make anything of significance value. So you take care of your mental and physical health by doing what? Being cognizant. I like to have conversations with my peers a lot of times, and I say, well, what's your gauge right now between 1 and 10? How do you feel mentally? Physically, how do you feel 1 through 10? But I also implore that you take the time to ask yourself that so you are cognizant of how you feel. It's almost like when you're on an airplane and they say, what, you have to put your oxygen mask on first before attending to anyone else? And I know that's very hard to grasp, right, if you have a baby or a child or a loved one. But the reality is, what can you give if you have nothing? The next is love and connection. It's very, very important that we love and connect. Love as people, love your family, love your friends, love life. Harvard did a study. This study was particular to studying people from the age of 5 all the way to 75. Most studies don't go this far because most test subjects in the type of test like this choose not to stay that long, or they die off, or, something happens with variables in the study. Well, in this situation, they carried this study all the way through. And what they identified within these individuals that truly continued to go on in life was the fact that they had somebody. They had connection, they had love. The ones that exceeded over the age of 75 and went on for 80 plus had some type of connection. I think we all got a sense of that within COVID in the last few years when we lost what it meant to be around and just have synergy. To the point where even introverts will go to Starbucks just to have coffee and put their headphones on and still be by themselves, but be around people by themselves. We all need to connect in some way, form, or fashion. It was a kid I used to have in the classroom that was about 6'2", 6'3", about 300 pounds. Every day he saw me, he would hug me so tight. And he couldn't utter the words of saying, Mr. Robertson, I really love what you've done and made me feel important. He couldn't get that out. But what he would do would hug me so hard every day. To some points, I would try to run from him. And he would hold me so tight. And it became a point in time where it wasn't even the hugs I was running from, but more so I was chasing him because I wanted that from him. Simon Sinek speaks about knowing your why. What is your purpose? What gets you out of bed? What pushes you to be your best? See, I think we all need to know what our why is. But the tricky part about the why is you don't always identify the why early in life. Sometimes it may be your mid-30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, some people 70s and 80s above. Old school says, keep on living, baby. You're right. I know what that means now in my mid-30s. I get it. Because throughout the journey, that's the best part of identifying your why and having something substantial, because emotion creates emotion. So if I know what I really want, I have something that pushes me to be great. Once you develop the why, you start to look at goals. Now, I think you should have goals for everything you do. Every day you should have goals. Every week you should have goals. Every month. And they should be metrics made to measure these goals. But they're not only from a number standpoint. You should have qualitative backing behind your goals, meaning that my goals are supported with emotion and finite math. So I have a time frame, but I'm also passionate about reaching those goals. They say that even from making your bed up in the morning, that's a check off the list that makes you feel accomplished. Something that small can make you feel pretty good. In my classroom, I used to have goals set up for my kids. And I worked with a lot of kids with autism, Asperger's. And you had to be so systemic on how you worked with these kids because they're brilliant, but they love systems. So what I would do, I would have systems in the classroom. They would know what was happening every day. God forbid if you mess up and don't have the system in place for that day, because there will be a hurricane in that classroom. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Some know some testimonies, right? Yeah, one kid, it was 5 chicken nuggets, and this particular day they gave 6 chicken nuggets for the lunch, and it was all hell broke loose. But when it comes to having this linear structure, it not only aided me in learning from these kids, because I understood that being systemic does so much for one when it comes to processes, but also replicating. And within leadership and ownership, it's so important. So what I did was I took this model for not only my day-to-day life, but I incorporated in my business. In the systemic process of having system after system and having processes, I can have people just mimic what I saw. I learned so much from these kids because even though some people would say, man, that's extreme, it really works. Now, I'm not going to throw my business around, or fight because my chicken nuggets, I didn't get the right kind or the number I wanted. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to implement this, and I'm going to teach it from every level of hierarchy. We all know about the process, right? Enjoying the process. There comes a point in time where we become so outcome orientated, we lose sight of what it is to enjoy the process. Within the school system, we're taught at an early age that what did I make on my grade? What's the outcome? I want all A's. I want all B's. I'm trying to succeed. What did I do? How did I do? I always pose the question, but did you learn anything? See, life is full of a journey. It's full of different journeys. And within that, you have to be able to grasp what comes from that process. See, not too long ago, it was a process where I ran for SGA president, and I stood on this stage right here in 2006, and I spoke to my student body. It was many different speeches, some more scarier than others, but the process taught me how to be prepared for this day right here. See, if I never went to run for SGA vice president, I would have never developed the skill set needed to speak in front of people. Meaning that I would have never went to become a leadership consultant, or I would have never became a teacher in the level that I became. I would never try to get my own business. I would never have the confidence, but it took me going through the process to gain the insight and say, I can believe. I think I can. I think I can. As we continue to go forth as this journey and we look at the different keys to a vibrant life, this one right here is one of the most important, I think, that we've lost sight of within society, and that's learning to be a service. I like to call it Chick-fil-A service because it's always so pleasurable. Matter of fact, they always say my pleasure after every time when you deal with that type of service. I think we need to incorporate this more in our life and be a gift to other people. It's so much me mentality now. And even when we give, we take a picture of us giving. So look at me give, all right? But are you truly giving for the sense of giving? You look at some individuals that, you drive down the street and you may see some of the homeless, and you have the decision there to make if you want to give or if you want to continue driving. Now, of course, you can't give to everyone. But when you make that transaction, the fulfillment that comes from giving cannot be replaced. See, there's something special about giving. The universe gave us a sense of a way of thinking or wanting to do it, therefore it's pleasurable to give. If you ever notice that when you give, you feel great. I don't know too many people that give and they're mad because they gave. I love this key right here because it talks about celebrating victories. And, one thing, again, in the classroom, especially working with some of your mentally gifted, I like to say, because they are gifted in so many ways. The way that you celebrate small victories. I've learned this from them because the smallest things would be a parade, but it made them feel special. Now, this is something also I incorporate in leadership because we all want to feel special. Matter of fact, there's a book by Mary Kay that says beautiful things happen. And in this book, she states that everyone has an invisible sign around their neck that says, make me feel important. I think that everyone needs to feel important in what they do. Now, as you continue going through our life, you have your different journeys. You have your different keys that you implement. You go through all these different ups and downs. And then you have all these different categories in your life, from your household to your career, to your goals, your talents, your social life. These are all different gardens, I like to call them. And it's a metaphor because gardens are, if you know about gardening, it's very particular on how you handle a garden. And it takes a lot of tender love and care. It takes a lot of dedication. And usually it's not an instantaneous result. So it's cultivating. And if you're not careful, weeds will grow. But not only weeds, invasive species will take over this garden. So look at your life with every aspect as far as that garden that exists. From your marriage, your social life, your careers. If you don't take care of those things, your family, if you don't take care of those things, weeds will start to grow. After my tenure and after doing all these things within mental health and education, I always used to think that I was contributing. I was giving time. I was going to be the one that was going to make these kids feel great about themselves and make individuals feel great about themselves. It wasn't until recently that I've learned that it wasn't me doing that to them, but what they were doing to me and what they gave me the ability to identify. See, I learned how to celebrate small victories. I learned how to love unconditionally. I learned how to give. I've learned how to be one that says, let me appreciate life. And for that, I will forever be thankful. Thank you.